I am joined by political analyst Professor Alex van der Heever and Moruleng Stadium, who are still here. Having listened to that, just listening to the SACP, of course, at this point in time, they're not exactly best friends. As we heard the ANC president saying that they are not enemies and that they are not fighting. But we know that the SACP standing up there and talking can be a little bit uncomfortable, considering that they're going at elections independently. What is your take? I mean, what did you make of the messages of support? We listened quite extensively there, the SACP talking about growing the economy, praising the ANC for its work, but then really biting at that bit about the economy having to grow and bettering the lives of the people.
Well, the ANC has actually been pretty unsuccessful on all of those fronts. So in the case of inequality has actually worsened since 1994. So we have a fixed starting point of inequality that we would have expected to see inequality decline from then, but it actually got worse. We haven't seen poverty eliminated, and if we had to look at worker interests, they're in the northwest and they don't mention Marikana. We've got public services, life esidimeni, the failure, 140 plus people die. There's no consequences for anybody for that particular failure. We have in the city of Johannesburg a fire that kills 70 plus people, no consequences. So a lot of this doesn't actually suggest that people are looking forward and really promising anything substantial, because when we look back, there has been no accountability, no attempt to actually address these tough issues that all countries have to address. And in the case of land reform, ultimately, South Africa is an urbanizing country. Ultimately, we're going to have about 5 to 10% of our population in rural areas, which means that our future lies in economic growth, in industrialization, etc. What does land reform promise? So the issue is what's real in any of this. And it's problematic that many of the people who would actually be implicated in something like Marikana are sitting here. The NUM, Cyril Ramaphosa, who was effectively representing Lonmin at the time. It's almost an insult to South Africa to sit there and pretend that stuff hasn't happened. So the question is, are people prepared to actually address the real tough problems of South Africa and suggest a way forward? So sugary speeches don't really cut it at this point, and that's what we've seen.
What did you make of the remarks? I mean, really just talking and digging into the bigger impact of having a weak economy, talking about inequality, talking about crime, gender-based violence, or just, aspects linked to the state of the country's economy.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think what is important is that we must accept that the ANC, the first 15 years of democracy, the ANC made strides in order to make sure that it ameliorated the life conditions of the people. But today we need to accept that because of new liberal policy perspective that the ANC, or trajectory that the ANC has adopted, that the country is now in regression. That is what we must first and foremost accept.
Okay, we're going to have to hold that. Thank you so much, Moruleng.